Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. If you're brand new around here, my name is Rita M. Perez. Hopefully, we are going to become great business besties when it comes to building our travel businesses together. Lots to talk about today as we jump into the topic of our podcast, which super thank you if you are on my email list for giving me some of that feedback. We're going to start talking about some of the different social media platforms that you can utilize because things in the metaverse have gotten a little crazy this year. And I know many of us are just looking for alternative ways. So I'll share some of the things that I've been personally thinking about and where I'm going to be tuning my focus in as well. Before we get started into all of the good things, I have to even mention a couple more good things that are happening. So the first thing is, if you are listening to this on February 7th, before midnight Eastern at the end of the day today, just know today is your last chance to take advantage of the early bird registration for Summer Camp at Sea. If you're like, Rita, but what is Summer Camp at Sea? It is a working with retreat with yours truly, plus a couple of your travel advisor friends, and we are going to get our annual business maintenance work done. So what exactly does that mean? If you need to make any copy tweets on your website, if you have to update any forms, checklists, task lists within your CRM? Do you have to update any of your library items in your itinerary builder? Your lead magnet, does that have to be updated? Maybe you have a new welcome email sequence. Maybe you have to update some of your business policies and terms. These are the types of things that we are looking to get done. We're not starting from scratch, we're just updating them. So if you are interested in coming, getting the work done, this is very much a working retreat, but also a having fun retreat. So if that sounds like really up your style, we in July of 2025, so just literally like 5-ish months from now, we are going to be sailing the Caribbean together. There's 3 sea days that are dedicated to getting the work done. All the other days, we're going to be having fun, camaraderie, going ashore, maybe doing a spa day together. I am just, 1, so excited to meet you all in person. And then 2, I am also very much excited to just get all this work and action done. Because yes, while I am your hostess with the mostest, I will also be getting work done. Because we all know we say we're going to do these things and then we never end up doing these things. But when we're all in the same room together, not only do we get things done, but we soak in lots of amazing ideas, see what's working for other people. So the camaraderie is something that I'm even more excited about. So if you want to register, early bird, again, expires today the 7th. It goes up to regular registration starting on February 8th. And I do have payment plans available as well if that would be super helpful to you. So just head over to summercampatsea.com or feel free to email me at rita@steeryourmarketing.com to secure your space with some of the other travel advisors that will be heading out with us. So first and foremost, got to talk about that, especially during these winter times. Second of all, I also have to mention that something else that is ending today is the digest. There is a special bonus. You can save $50 today. Past today, it's going to go back up to the regular price. If you don't know what the digest is, it is pretty much that digestible chunks of information that you get bi-monthly from the wonderful Kate at Travel Pro Theory. This can be education, this can be templates, this can be a heads up on AI trends. I know she talks a lot about AI. It is super duper affordable. I believe I was seeing that it's only $9 a month, and then if you wanted to do the upgrade, it is currently less than $300. So make sure take advantage of that as well if that's something that's of interest. Then I have to give a huge shout out to one of my partners this year, Find Travel. You may have heard a little bit about Find Travel at both Prep for Wave Week and then Travel Industry Black Friday. one of the amazing things, it's really a directory website for all things relating to your travel business. My business is listed on there, Take the Helm, so you can find all of the different educational products that I do offer there. But what's even more amazing on Lisa's website is that they have a chock full event calendar. And these are events that she actually vets. And I know that there's lots of different events calendars between like probably your host, your franchise, industry associations. But she puts she curates this list so meticulously. So they are vetted events. So she wants to make sure that they're legit events, they're quality events for you as travel pros to attend to really grow your business. This can be ship inspections, this can be FAMs, this can be educational events. So I will go ahead and I will link find is FYND travel.com. I'll go ahead and link it below. If you want to check out the events calendar, there's a couple different like membership tiers that she has, and then you can also join absolutely free to get access to that information. Now, I always also like to be straight up and real with you and share my own entrepreneurial journey with you so that you just have the heads up. You have the fast pass. Not to make any missteps or overlookings that I may have done. And I'm just going to put it out there. I have been dealing with a chargeback situation. Somebody purchased one of my digital products from me, and I do have terms and conditions in place, but for whatever reason, when I submitted close to 10 pieces of evidence that this person had purchased, accepted my terms, and then also accessed some of the digital product, they still cited in their favor. And so I lost the dispute. So you can bet I am not a happy camper. And I did reach out to my attorney and I was like, what really is the point of having terms and conditions if I can't protect myself against that? Because what I'm finding when I was starting to huddle up with my community of fellow online travel business owners is that typically the credit card company will side with their client and not with you, even if you've done everything right. Which again, what kind of poo-poo is that? How do us as small business owners... how is that possible? Because if everybody wanted to do that, we wouldn't be in business. And so how do you protect yourself? So the first thing that my attorney, and granted, this is my attorney. If you ever happen to come across this, you will need to reach out to your attorney. Or if you have an attorney and you want to prevent this from happening to you, make sure to reach out to your attorney. So, obviously, it was mentioned that I could take this to small claims court if I wanted. This is not small claims court worthy. I would say if you had a dispute, and again, I am not an attorney. I'm not advising you to do anything. I'm just sharing the education that I know so that you can make an educated decision, but moreover, you should be going to your counsel and getting the appropriate counsel because again, I am not an attorney. So, I know, me personally, I wouldn't go to small claims court for anything that's really less than $500 because it's probably, for me, it doesn't really seem worth it. So, I will not be going that avenue myself. The other thing that they mentioned was to change the wording of the checkbox that they click, that it's not just simply, I accept the terms and conditions. It's something a little bit more elaborate so that they are understanding with that checkbox. It's not just a blanket, I agreed to the terms. They also know certain things about this payment that they're able to make. So again, I'm not going to share the language with you. That's something that you should be going to your counsel for to get the appropriate language because what I do and what you do are different things. But that is something just to have a heads up about. Some of the other things that I had floated around and mentioned, I knew when I was doing my travel agency terms and conditions, there's actually a chargeback clause that something to the effect of if anybody was going to do a chargeback with their bank, that I could go after them for that money because it's not a viable chargeback. And so I don't have any of that in any of my digital terms and conditions, but you can bet we are going to make that change as well. The more protections, the better. So that's something that I'm going to update as well. I was hearing in the online business community, though, that chargebacks equal theft. And I'm saying this, I'm just, again, sharing the information. I don't know how actually true this is or not. This is probably actually something that I should run like through a legal chat GPT or a legal GPT in chat GPT to be like, is this something that's allowable? So what was mentioned to me is that chargebacks are theft, and as such, you can take somebody to collections to get the money back from that. So again, I'm just putting it out there. That might be an option for you. I don't know that I would pursue that option myself, but it was interesting to know that this is something that small business owners might be able to use in their arsenal to protect against these types of things. And then last but not least, somebody had mentioned that there's a certain type of business insurance that you can get that you might be able to make a claim whenever you have a chargeback to get your money back from that. So that's something that does like perk my ears and that I am interested in hearing more about, is having business insurance that would cover chargebacks, because especially in agency E&O, it doesn't have anything to do with an error or omission. But that might be like maybe a general liability. Again, I'm not in insurance and I don't know the legalities of it all. So this is something that I need to explore. So just sharing that information with you. Moreover, please do not dispute legitimate payments with other small business owners, especially if you have not communicated with them prior to. I think that is one of the most frustrating things about this person never even reached out to me to tell me what the problem was with the product that they purchased. I just don't know how you can do something like that to a small business owner. And on top of that, they are still opening my weekly emails. So yeah, once I get this thing all situated, they're going to be removed from my email list. They're going to be removed from anything, and hopefully they don't add themselves back. Because this just feels very similarly to a story that I had mentioned a couple months ago where somebody marked my emails as spam, but then added themselves back onto my email list and marked me as spam again. And I'm like, but you did it. I didn't add you. You did it. These are the plights of the small business owner. I myself have only ever done like one chargeback. And the one chargeback that I did was because the small business told me to do it. This was during pandemic times, and I had purchased, actually it was a tour for a cruise that I was going to have in May 2020. And I was working with a local tour operator. And because there were so many obviously cancellations and things, that wasn't going to happen. And so how do we recoup this money? So when I had reached out to them for a refund, they had said, just dispute the charge with the credit card company and it'll like play out in that way. And so again, like I reached out to the company to get some resolution. I would never, or at least I would hope that I would never not try and reach out to the company before I did some sort of chargeback or dispute, because this also like is a negative mark now in one of my payment processors, because I had to pay dispute fee. Again, it's a minimal fee, but it's still very annoying, especially when this person has never reached out to me and then also access some of the intellectual property that I have within this digital product. So I'm just sharing this story. It's not a woe is me. I'm very frustrated. And I want you to know, like, if it happened to me, I'm sure it can happen to any other business owner. I definitely do not want it to happen to you, but I just want you to just have a heads up that this is a thing that happens in business, and there are certain things that you can do to protect yourself, and maybe you should reach out to whoever's your attorney to see if there's anything you can do to up the risk management when it comes to things like that, because yeah, I was very infuriated, especially when I put out so much evidence that proved that this was a legitimate charge. So anyways, that was my lesson for this past week. And speaking of my email list, because I know I mentioned something a little bit earlier, I do have to shout out, because my email list, I kind of curate some information from you so that I can bring out really amazing content to you with your travel business. And one of the things that I had asked is, what types of topics are you interested in knowing a little bit more? And the topic that got kind of like the most interest was about social media platforms and what's kind of like the future of social media in 2025. And so I want to dive into that topic. The other topic that was really popular was about AI tools, and I will probably be coming back sometime soon to talk about the different AI tools that you can use within your business, especially when it comes to content repurposing. I just want to do some more testing of the tools before I let you know what I think about them. So, social media platforms in 2025, and I think I've touched on this on some of the past or the earlier episodes this year. The landscape is changing, and I suspected this, and it's kind of happening faster than I thought, because I was thinking maybe middle of the year we might be changing platforms and the things that we do on the platforms. And then everything that happened between TikTok and Meta, and then, TikTok, Facebook, then Instagram, it's been cuckoo bananas when it comes to social media. And I know so many people were already burnt out or not liking social media previous to that. And now we're looking for alternative ways to market our businesses in social media channels. So there's a couple considerations that you have to have, because if you're going to be navigating away from some of these most popular platforms, you also have to keep in mind that there's still going to be a lot of people that are using these most popular platforms. There are plenty of people that are equally as frustrated with all the games that these guys have been playing. And so if you are first and foremost thinking of like not using Instagram, not using Facebook anymore, I would make sure that the last post that you have on that platform says something like, I will no longer be active on this platform, but you can find me on these alternative platforms. So at least you're not leaving your audience high and dry, or anybody that newly finds your business. They're not like, well, what just happened here? You have another medium for them to go to. I have definitely been concentrating more of my efforts on LinkedIn, and I've been interacting a lot more on LinkedIn and putting my thoughts on LinkedIn. And I highly encourage you all to do that. I had a conversation with the members of Marketing Business School earlier of how important it is not only just to post on LinkedIn, it's probably even more important that you're interacting with other accounts on LinkedIn and having meaningful engagement. I feel like the other social media accounts have brought us up because they are a little bit more personal, less professional. We're okay with it not being like too deep, because the people that we need to have deep conversations with, we're going to do that offline anyways. But that will not work on LinkedIn, at least for the most part. Like, you can't comment like, I totally agree with that, without elaborating a little bit more on your perspective. There's a time and place like for those short types of comments, but LinkedIn really wants to hear your perspective. They value what it is that you have to say, and original thought and original spins and what you have to say about a certain conversation is what LinkedIn loves and what LinkedIn craves. So I don't want you to shy away from this platform. This is a platform that you do have to like learn and retrain your brain in how to social media, because it is very different than an Instagram or a Facebook, how you interact on there. Now, I will say I really love Instagram. There are certain things that like make me super duper frustrated with Instagram, but I really love Instagram. So I need to find an alternative to Instagram. I had actually at the beginning of the year been thinking that I was going to do more stuff on TikTok because I'm trying not to make cursey words, but poo-poo on the metaverse and all the things that they are doing. So to get away from Meta, I was like, let me go over to TikTok and just explore a little bit. And then TikTok did their little, we're going to take it down, then put it right back up thing. And I'm like, oh no, we're not getting involved with all these games that y'all are playing. So one of the alternatives that I keep hearing about, and I need to test out myself, and this might be a weekend project that I do, is Fanbase. And Fanbase is actually an American-owned social media app, Black-owned social media app, which is even better for me. And there are lots of positives. Like, you can start getting paid on day one, not like huge amounts of money, probably just like pennies or dollars, but you can get paid day one from some of the content that you already add. It sounds like it's pretty easy to import your information if you do have an Instagram account onto your Fanbase account, so it might be like a low lift in terms of just switching everything from accounts over there. They also have the opportunity for you to invest in the company. So I mean, how amazing is that? Would that opportunity be if you're able to invest ground zero almost on a brand new social media platform, or brand new-ish? I know I've heard that it does have like its own glitches and things like that. So that might be something that you have to be a little bit wary about when it comes to switching over. And again, where I feel like there's a lot of us that are trying to figure out like what's our next best place. The other platform that I keep hearing a lot about is Blue Sky. Earlier today, somebody was like, it's so quiet on Blue Sky, because Blue Sky is like a Threads and an X alternative. So it would be a little bit quiet because there's not a lot of people yet that are on these types of platforms. So you have to wait for the migration to happen, which is also why I say do not just stop posting on your regular platforms without telling people where you're going. Because another platform that I know a lot of people are looking to is YouTube. And YouTube is a Google channel, Google platform. So it's not without its own like downsides, but there is a lot of benefit that comes from being on YouTube. One, it is its own search engine, so people are looking for content that you're talking about. And then two, I attended a PodFest session about YouTube Shorts. So was hearing like that there's just different things that you can do, but you need to test out what content is really going to work best. Because I feel like YouTube has a lot of the things from all the other platforms. They're just underutilized because for the most part, people want to watch horizontal videos. They're looking for some help. They're looking for some guidance on YouTube. So again, you're going to have to like change how you create content, change how you interact on the platform as well, because they do have a social media aspect that's called community, where you can make posts, share photos and all that. But it just works a little bit differently. And again, it's not a super popular thing unless you're always on YouTube, which maybe that's something that I also need to just dabble in a little bit more, is just being more active on YouTube. talking about YouTube is also making me think, I have been talking for quite some time about macro content versus micro content. Macro content is that big, juicy piece of content, your podcast episode, a YouTube video, a blog post. Maybe this is even like a Facebook Live that you do within your Facebook group. That big, juicy piece of content you can utilize to repurpose into the micro content, which is your social media posts. So I feel like we're putting a lot of weight on social media posts when they're not really as important as this big, meaty, juicy piece of content. Social media really is to support all these other marketing efforts that you have. It is kind of like your assistant where you are doing the work, trying to meet the people, running webinars, running master classes, and then you can direct people to learn more about what you do on these different social channels. So it helps keep you top of mind for other people, but this is not like, if you really want to put bigger bang into your buck, you really need to be investing and putting time into that macro piece, that macro content, and then being able to repurpose it into micro content. The easiest way that I think of repurposing, especially if you are doing written content like blogs, go into a ChatGPT or a Claude and figure out how to repurpose the content. That's what I have been doing recently a lot with my podcast. I mean, I've been repurposing it with different AIs, but I've been doing a lot more with Claude and training it. And that's, I don't want to dive into the AI conversation, but you need to find your favorite AI, start using it, and then figure out how to use it even better. So I feel like I've mastered how to use ChatGPT, even though sometimes it annoys me, that now I'm learning how to master Claude and how to better utilize Claude for the content repurposing. So, but when I think of, again, we're looking at this social media ecosystem, we've got at the top, we've got our macro content. At the bottom, we have our micro content. Also at this bottom is that the not social media type platforms, or not immediate social media type platforms. I think of your email marketing, so your email community. I also think of like Facebook groups, and you don't have to have all the things, but these are just things that I'm thinking about in my arsenal as well. I am not very active in my Facebook group. Part of me wishes that I was a little bit more, but I also feel like that's not my zone of genius. Like, I do a lot better getting on camera with you. Like, if you ever attended a webinar with me, or if you've ever been in any of my programs like Plan Your Year or Prep for Wave Week study hall sessions, that's where I thrive, is getting to talk to you, getting to know you a little bit better. Kind of writing posts is not really my thing. So the thing that has been at the top of my mind, though, is how can I curate community? Because that is incredibly important, especially in 2025, is carving out communities of people who support the content that you're already putting out there in different ways. So one of the things that I personally have been thinking a lot about is Substack, which is a pseudo social media, pseudo email marketing, because they do have a newsletter component, but it's like a newsletter that you're able to like comment on and add in your thoughts and ideas, which is why I'm like, oh, this is like social media, but it's not, it's a little bit different, because that's what the community aspect is that we're all able to like share our ideas, ask for feedback, ask for assistance, and like get better clarity and be pinpointed in the right direction. Substack has its own set of problems. So I've heard of this platform called Ghost, which I hear is very affordable. I have not yet dabbled in it just yet. So this is also something else that needs testing. Obviously, I'm going to be doing a lot of testing the next couple of months. But that's at the top of my mind because I do really great putting out weekly content here on the podcast. I do really great connecting with you every week via email marketing. I would love to be able to do something else where we are able to connect and grow our amazing community of curious action takers within the travel industry. And I feel like that could be through Ghost. I am more overthinking about dabbling into maybe, and I've talked about this before, quarterly Zoom sessions or maybe monthly Zoom sessions, almost like a town hall that we're able to get together on camera and just discuss, like, these are the things happening in my business. So I heard this was happening in the travel industry or that was happening. So it's kind of like something like utilizing a town hall forum for something that you might make a social media post like in a Facebook group about it, but instead of like having that forum, like just being able to be live on a face-to-face chat is something that I might dabble in as well. Because you've got to, being an entrepreneur, there's a couple different avenues that you have to play, and that's your big piece of content, especially in the digital marketing world. Like, I'm not even talking networking or anything right now. There has to be that big, juicy piece of content that you can take anybody to. There has to be your supporting micro pieces of content. And then you also have to be nurturing the audience that you're creating on all these different platforms. I have said for quite some time, like, I wish we were back in the days where it can be like, you can grow your business just using Instagram or just using YouTube, because that's how a lot of people used to grow your businesses, but that is no longer. You do have to have this multi-channel approach, and there's, again, no one right way to approach it. There's going to be a lot of multiple different ways to approach it. And so this is how I do things, but you might do things a little bit differently. So I just wanted to kind of share some of the social medias that I've been talking about, some of the ideas that I've been talking about as well. I would love to hear from you too, because there's a lot of other platforms that aren't necessarily social media that a lot of other business owners are using to cultivate community. Oh gosh, the name is gonna come off of my head now. Like, I know some people use Slack for their communities. Some people use Voxer communication, so the walkie-talkie app. Telegram, that is another one that I've heard a lot of people using to like host different communication channels. I have also started to think LinkedIn does have groups. So do I try and create a podcast group on LinkedIn? And maybe this is what we can do to also like help you branch out and like really utilize LinkedIn for yourself. I would like to know like what you're thinking about it, like what you're thinking about social media, because I know there's so many of us that are done with the hamster wheel of constantly trying to figure out what works, what doesn't work, what we can do to like make things better for us. And social media doesn't really seem to be it. It seems to be a little bit different. But there does still need to be something that kind of fills in that hole that social media inevitably will be leaving behind, because that is how we connect with people. That's something that's been top of mind myself, because social media business-wise, social media personal-wise, so that I can stay in contact with fun friends that I've made with my family members, I need to find like a good alternative personal social media platform. So yeah, those are kind of my thoughts on how we're moving and how we're going beyond just social media, and this really coming into this multi-channel approach. So definitely interested in hearing your thoughts. So just click that button at the top of the show description, send Rita your thoughts so I can see what you've been thinking about and what's been going on in your head. But I think that's it for me for this week. I will see you back here next week where I don't know what our topic is next, but I do have a couple ideas rolling in my head. So if there's something in particular you definitely want to hear about, shout out. All right, have a wonderful week, everybody.